Oh, I
The
have.
Misadventures. I 100% did that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a pretty good fun fact. When I was younger, my mother did not want me to watch Ed and Eddie for some reason. For some reason, she didn't want me to watch the show. I don't know why. She thought like, well, it's just a bunch of dumb idiots. I'm like, I don't care. It's a fun show. They're just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything needs to be educational. I'm not 5 anymore.
Yep, this is kind of why my humor is so broken, this show. It's definitely the show.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's a really good show. Also, apparently there was a game called Ed and Eddie Online, which was a real thing. I I I don't know why there was Ed and Eddie Online of all things. Uh, but yeah, that was a thing at some point. Well then, as fellow fan, I even watched the movie, which was a really good one, and all the specials. Jingle, jingle, jangle. Anyway, let's head into this.
I didn't want to have to make this video. I'll just
Why?
get right out and say it. I'm done making Nick June videos. I know
Okay.
a lot of you are probably a little confused, angry, a little thirsty, and for that,
Little
I'm
thirsty?
sorry. I think the idea is just run its course.
Yet everyone
I
loves
mean, I've done.
everyone loves Tom and Jerry. I love Tom and hated Jerry because I don't know why anyone would be on Jerry's side. He's just a
Wow,
mouse.
everybody.
I just don't know why anyone would have been on Jerry's side. I prefer Tom because he's just a cat defending his home
Yes.
from a mouse running amok, and he's so mean and
Yes.
terrible.
He is.
Like,
Also, quickly, just reminding me, I'll mute myself. Go
okay,
on.
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, since I'm also doing my, I was also recording on my end. I just want to say I love Ed and Eddie the Misadventures. I literally played it as a kid, and I 100% did it. I don't know. I spent hours trying to fixing this game. Also, Psychonauts. This is before I got into the internet and started looking up guides. So I will wear that as a badge of honor.
Well then.
It was so
Done
much fun.
everything I can with the format. We've
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of good times from classic videos like the SpongeBob movie game to my
Okay.
more controversial videos like the SpongeBob movie game.
He's only made
Most
one.
viewed video, that's right, the SpongeBob movie game. But
That's all the tune.
I'm done.
Oh.
I want to move on and just. I want to make the content that I want to see, and to do that, I'm introducing a brand new theme month, Cartoon Network. That's
Oh my
right. For the rest
God.
of the month of June, we're going to be looking at only Cartoon Network games.
Oh,
and this time
I
I
love
mean
courage.
it. What better way to start off the long-running
Yeah.
Cartoon
The
Network?
Powerpuff
than to start with a
Girls,
big
Ed
shot
and
of the
Eddie.
channel.
No.
No, not that one.
Go away.
No,
Yeah, maybe.
no, not that one.
Yeah.
Not that one either.
What?
No, I mean yes.
Yes. Wait, where are the cards that he's using? Oh, he's using the Toon
Toon
cards.
cards.
Oh my god.
He's using Toon cards. I want some of those.
Yeah, apparently they've gotten better. There's Toon Buster Blader, there's Toon Barrel Dragon, Toon Cyber Dragon, Toon Goblin Attack Force, Toon Mass Sorcerer, and Toon Kingdom, and a bunch of other Toon cards.
But Mech, what about the best card of all?
What?
Cool Gatling gun.
That's not a Toon card. That is a Performa Pal. We've been over
But
this.
it can be, and I'm pretty sure I know I didn't pronounce the name right, but still,
Gatling
Gatling
Ghoul.
Ghoul or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. Why not a tune for that? It's beautiful.
Because
Every carnival needs a Gatling Ghoul.
no, it doesn't. We're not in Gundam Wing over here.
Mine has at least three of them.
Oh my
We don't
god.
even use them, but they're there for some reason.
How did you get them if you don't even use them?
And don't worry, they use rubber bullets
That doesn't make it better.
and are
Rubber bullets can
paintballs.
still hurt. Those hurt even more.
So can paintballs. Yeah, that's because whenever we have the meanie pantses join the carnival or do mean things, we just summon the Gatling Ghouls.
Oh my god. How do you not get sued like every 30 minutes?
We basically make people sign a waiver. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, shame tunes have been kind of. Well, they were super nerfed at the start. So they've been
I'm
slowly
going.
coming back.
Can I be honest about tune cards?
What?
As a kid, when the episode first came out, when Kaiba first fought Pegasus with his tune cards, I actually fell in love with the Toon cards because, again, I was a kid and I thought they were really cool. And I just wanted to collect the cards. I didn't, like, again, no one ever wanted to play this game with me throughout the years, but I literally just wanted the Toon cards because I thought they were adorable.
I know you would.
To this day, I still love them. I don't really care if they're playable, not playable. I just think they're nice.
I know you do. Same here with Dead. He loves the Toon cards.
Yeah, they're just fun. They're just silly little guys. It's literally it. They're just little guys having a good time doing little guy things, you know?
Anyway, moving forward, let's learn about Ed and Eddy.
So a little background on the channel and Ed and
Oh, yeah.
whole
Ted
Cartoon
Turner.
Network was started in 1992 by Ted Turner. Yes, he looks like a guy at a bus stop who sells hard candies, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
He's responsible for most television. A whole nother
Yeah,
video
it's
would have
funny.
to
He
be made
created
just to
Cartoon
cover what
Network.
drug-fueled benders Teddy got up to when people
Toon
weren't
cards I
looking.
like.
But to give you
A
an
little
idea,
middle
people who looked like this gave him the
middle goes
nickname
zero.
Captain
How you been?
Outrageous. You know you're doing something right when you get a nickname like that.
Yeah.
The environment, or I'll kill you.
I forgot they made that joke with Ted Turner. For Robot Chicken, for some reason, he keeps dressing up like Captain Planet and beating up people.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I forgot about that. but yeah, Ted Turner is how we got Cartoon Network, because most of the idea is having a show for kids that was just old cartoons all the time, which was pretty smart.
His life on the right foot by getting kicked out of college for bringing a girl into his room. Man's down to
Whoa.
clown, I don't see the issue. He sold several radio stations he owned to buy a struggling TV station, which he decided to make work in the most. Of course that worked! Way
Oh.
possible by playing shows like Gilligan's Island and I Love Lucy, and having a comedian named Bill Tush read off the news with his co-host, a dog
Really?
wearing a shirt. Fuck out of a mind. Clearly they had found a winning formula, earning the rights to show the major Atlanta-based baseball team's games, getting broadcast via satellite,
Really?
and amassing a fortune of over $100 million. Ted was
Wow.
flying high and decided to strike it out with a new idea. What if there was a channel that never stopped? That's where the cable news network came in. CNN was a channel that had wall-to-wall news coverage 24
Wait,
hours
he
a
owned
day.
CNN?
Now, contrary to popular
I don't
belief,
remember this.
Things don't stop happening when you stop looking at them, so there's always going to be news. And
Yeah.
CNN found an audience. But Ted wasn't done yet. Why would you make a channel all about how horrible everything is, if not to counteract it with a channel where you could watch Scooby-Doo eat a big sandwich? Yeah, it only took 497 words to get to cartoons in this video. So, the early stages of Cartoon Network's history is like a horrible Ouroboros where companies just kept eating each other, regurgitating the remains, and then eating those remains. If you ever
Yeah,
thought
sounds
history
about right.
needed to be more like the turducken, you're in luck. So, Bird managed to close a deal which secured him the rights to all
Not the
Looney Tunes cartoons made
turducken.
before 1948, because in 1956, Warner Brothers sold them to a company who gives a fuck who they were, because they were bought by
Oh,
United
fuck.
Artists, who were bought by MGM, who were then bought by Turner, who spat back out MGM
Okay,
after taking the
I had to look
backlog.
away from
Now,
that for the
backlog
Oh my god.
was mainly for classic movies for channels like Turner Classic Movies, but
Sorry,
adding
I have
MGM
to look
the
away
lineup
for the
meant they
obvious
now had
reasons
the
that you
MGM
saw it a
cartoons
second
alongside
ago.
the Looney Tunes like Tom and Jerry.
There we go. Tom and Jerry.
After that, in 1991, he bought Hanna-Barbera, who actually made cartoons like
Yeah.
Flintstones, Jetsons, Yogi Bear.
Oh yeah,
Super
these were all originally on Cartoon Network. Tom and Jerry, all the Hanna-Barbera stuff because he
Benny.
bought it. Scooby-Doo.
Hanna-Barbera made so many Scooby-Doo clones. It is ridiculous.
Yes, JC.
Too many, in fact.
JC and the Pussycats, something. There's one with Captain Caveman.
Jabberjaws. Freaking Jabberjaws, yeah.
There's one with a ghost, I think.
Junior and
There's
his
the
Magic
one with the
Self, and
talking
Lesser-Known
car.
Princess. So in terms of cartoons, Ted Turner was kind of an unstoppable god king who would go into every major studio and poach their best stuff. MGM,
Oh,
Warner
God
Bros,
damn it.
Barbera. He picked up Popeye along the way because
Yes, he
was pretty much
did.
just short at Disney of control.
Would you stop doing that?
Some perspective on how
Please.
much he really owned. Ted Turner at one point owned over 60% of all theatrical animated shorts.
Wow!
So now he
That's
probably had to
insane.
do
My
something.
goodness.
The solution?
Yeah.
Well, take the model that worked with CNN and apply it to cartoons. Ted put all
Yeah.
9,000 hours of animation he had to good use, as there was now a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week channel dedicated to showing what
Cartoon
was essentially
Network was
a
so
really
wonderful.
nice trophy cabinet. This started the first era
It
of
really
Cartoon
was.
Network, helmed by
What
Betty Cohen.
happened?
This was a time of experimentation.
I blame Teen
led
Titans
helped by
Go.
the fact that they had a massive safety net. Nicktoons was constantly hard up for content. There was only so many times they could show this lanky fucker before people started to get bored. Cartoon Network did not have that problem.
Yeah, it
You
had
could
all
produce
the
your own content
animated
right
shows
out
it
of the gate.
needed.
Remember, over 9,000 hours of backlog and tons of free
9,000
advertising on the other
hours.
networks. TNT specifically would occasionally just air whatever Cartoon Network was as a way to drum up support. With a
Really?
great logo, unique channel bumpers, and shows that people
my
actually
God.
wanted to watch that you couldn't watch anywhere else.
Oh,
Just like
Huckleberry
the Cartoon
Hound.
Network outdrawing CNN. Yeah, big fire down at the warehouse. Huckleberry Hound's on. 1993 marked the first original cartoon, The Moxie Show. Would you look at that? It's certainly moving, and if it moves, we can kill it. The new first
what?
original cartoon
Oh,
was Space
yes.
Ghost Coast to Coast, which, okay, you can't really call it original if you're reusing old footage.
I mean, that's a lot of what Adult Swim was, reusing old footage for new shows. I mean,
One of my favorite Space Ghost jokes, like Coast to Coast jokes, where he literally says, "Well, I guess I'll die now." Lies down on the ground. This isn't so bad. That was one of my favorite stupid Space Ghost jokes ever.
Fable, I want to know something funny. Do you know what was the least expensive Adult Swim show to make?
What it was?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh my sweet lord, how?
Because they reused a lot of stuff. Now they're getting more money for their final, or like their 12th season, but yeah.
Oh my god, freaking Aqua Teen Wonder Force looks like it's cheaply made. What do you mean it's so expensive?
At the time, Fable, everything was cheaply made. No, I said least expensive.
Oh, I heard most expensive. That's my bad. Sorry.
It's fine, it's fine. Zork made that show.
No, that made sense.
Was
That
a
made
fake
sense.
talk show that
Yeah.
reused old cartoon assets to make something that was oddly biting and different for the time it was released in.
You're supposed to be in jail.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be dumpster diving for ham scraps, you six-piece chicken McNobody. Get out of my seat!
After that,
I love that. We need more
Harvey
Zork.
Birdman, attorney at law.
I want to show that to I've seen a lawyer actually watch one of Harvey Birdman's. It's a really good show, but I actually know a lawyer. I want to show him Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
more years.
But before you do, you gotta show him this one Harvey Birdman line where it's like where he's in jail and he's like, I need a lawyer. And his freaking assistant's just like, wait, aren't you a lawyer? Yes, but I mean a good one. I love how he knows he's bad. Oh, this show is beautiful.
Yes. I just
This
remember.
show is so stupid.
I just remember one part where they're like, I told you I would defeat you, Harvey Birdman, and I say it this very day. He's like, oh, ready to face the powers of attorney? And they just start shooting lasers at each other in the courtroom.
Yeah, that was such a kangaroo court. Oh my god.
Until the caveman guy just starts smacking a gavel and saying, order in the court.
What a cartoon! I talked before in the last video about how creator-driven animation was in vogue.
What a
Well,
cartoon.
Nothing matched the freedom of What a Cartoon. No restrictions, no
Oh
boundaries.
yeah,
just
What a
don't
Cartoon
show
is when
fun
they were
and
trying new
weird
ideas.
variety. This next part is going to make a lot more sense if you're an animation nerd like me. So
Oh,
everybody else
look,
just
it's the first
tune out.
ideas
This
between
series
Dexter's
acted as
Lab and the
start for
Powerpuff
titans
Girls.
of the industry like Craig McCracken, Gendy Tartakovsky, Rob
Gendy Tartakovsky, goddamn.
Yeah.
And Rob,
Eddy, and God's
Yeah.
Strongest Soldier, John
God's
Dilworth.
strongest soldier. God still work. Dear God, so many titans of the industry
It's
started
Seth
right
MacFarlane.
here.
From this show came the heaviest of heavy hitters, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff.
Dexter's Laboratory was just the guy's excuse to sometimes make a mecha fighting show, which he eventually got to.
Yeah. You really did. Too bad it got canceled.
Yeah.
Freaking
Girls, Courage the
stupid.
Cowardly Dog,
Oh, I
Alan
love
Chicken,
Courage.
Johnny Bravo, cartoons for cartoon's sake.
Johnny
Remove
Bravo
a few more
was
words from
great.
that last line and you have the perfect name.
People now consider him a himbo, and yeah, I see
They were
that.
riding high with the best lineup of cartoons.
Yeah.
He doesn't
It
hurt
would get
anyone,
even
he's
better
just
in
stupid and
1997
tries to
with the
impress the
introduction of
ladies.
Toonami. See, up until this point,
Yeah, he's literally
anime trapped
just
into
a silly guy. That's it. He doesn't do anything bad.
He's literally harmless. Don't forget Mentor, the Mind Taker. Oh yeah, and of course Toonami with Tom.
Sadly, somehow the
I miss
and now
Tom.
under cover of darkness,
Yeah.
you could watch Goku achieve a Super Saiyajin in the shame of your own home.
In the shame of your own home.
Responsible for taking Japanese animation from the tape trading circuit into mainstream.
It's
but
crazy
definitely
how many
responsible
things
in
were
some
made because of Cartoon Network. Like, this is
way,
the first
shape, or
time
no
dubs
kidding.
were starting to
Danganronpa,
make.
So I'll never forgive and forget. With
Oh,
all the
they were gonna
original
do
products, they had to
Danganronpa.
do something with the old MGM and Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
So that's where we
It's
get
not like
Boomerang.
People didn't want to watch them anymore, so they created Boomerang, a
Yeah.
really nice name for the old Fogies channel. Things took a bit of a shift as Betty Cohen, the president I mentioned earlier who signed off on all this creator-driven content, was gone, replaced with Jim Samples. Jimmy is the tube sock of Cartoon Network presidents. He didn't do anything wrong, but he sure didn't rock the boat in any meaningful way. He's the Martin Van Buren of Cartoon Network president.
Well, I mean, if the ship's going well, why would you change course? Like, I know now.
Because some people just want to be in control.
Like, how will you put it this way? Especially now in companies nowadays, they always want to make the number go up no matter what, which is actually impossible. But, you know, they don't believe that.
He did some
Right.
good, like introducing Adult Swim on September 2nd, 2001.
Oh.
The day after my first birthday, and 9 days before. Oh, I am so sorry to steal your thunder, guys. It was a block that catered to more adult cartoon fans. as
There
they
it is,
recognized they were
Aqua Teen
just as
Hunger
valid a
Force.
market as the younger group. This is not only where Toonami would live from now on, but would also be the home to original content like Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job, and the Venture Bros. But also
Ah,
shows
yeah,
in a
Venture
similar vein to
Bros.
the original lineup like Aqua Team Hunger Force.
A lot of y'all still don't get it. Ape holders can use multiple slurp juices on a single ape.
At the same time, Jim was also responsible for the beginning of letting real people onto the network.
Oh,
They'd always
yeah.
dabbled with having flesh and blood appear on the channel with shows like Space Ghost, but those were real people in a cartoon world.
Yeah.
Reanimated and out of Jimmy's head were cartoons in the real people world. So it's
Oh,
sort of
yeah,
even
I
so in
remember
terms
this
of
weird
damage
show.
done for every out of Jimmy's head.
I
you'd be like Rick and
don't.
Morty, and you know what? Big net negative. This is your fault. Speaking
Oh,
of
yeah.
net negatives, in came Stuart Snyder, new president of Cartoon Network and killer of all happiness.
Oh,
See,
no.
For the championship reign of Jim Samples, there were cartoons like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends,
Oh.
The Adventures of Billy and Mandy,
Oh,
Samurai
great.
Jack, Star Wars: The
Oh.
Clone Wars, Megas XLR, Chowder. It was
There
still
is
a
no downside to any of this. Look at all this.
There really isn't.
Like, the Clone Wars was amazing, Char was
great
amazing,
time
all of
to be a
them were.
cartoon fan.
Yeah.
But you know what Cartoon Network was always missing? Not cartoons.
Yeah.
Fuck me, it's the guy who made the Hellsing Ultimate Abridged opening. CN Real was a programming block which saw all the good work.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with this. Funny enough, you know
I
that's
don't know.
you know that there was gonna be a spin-off for Billy and Mandy called Underfist that was originally going to be made, but they took it down. They didn't take that instead.
I did
they
not
took
know
this.
that actually.
Yeah, it was going to be like a
What the
Super Friends
hell?
style show with, like, you know, Mr. Scar, Jeff the Spider, Irwin, who had mummy and vampire powers, and a few others. And they took it down. Instead of, they had a pilot, but instead of doing that, they did this, the live action
The Cartoon
BS
Network had
that
been
no one
doing for
cared
the past
about.
2 decades and decided it wasn't bad enough and course corrected. These were shows that tried to
Right.
play catch up with what Disney and Nick were doing for at least the past 10 years, and to say it went well would be what an evil Mirror Jack would say to trick you. Of the
Yeah.
original lineup of live action shows, 2 survived the year they debuted in, and some barely survived the month. Chin up,
Yeah.
sport. You could be Brain Rush. No, but really, there's this
Oh,
show
I
called-
remember Brain Rush. It was so bad.
I don't even. This is just pain. This is actual
All it
pain.
says, and it ran for, I'm not kidding you, from August 19th, 2009 to September 13th, 2009. That's not a show run, that's a long fever. This was a massive miss in terms of knowing what your audience wants, with people
Yeah.
turning out in droves, with the only new cartoons being made during the same time period being Ben 10 Alien Force and the marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack,
I mean, Ben 10 Alien Force was still pretty good.
which, in all
Right.
fairness, is basically responsible for every cartoon nowadays that you like.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't understand that, or the Flapjack family of cartoons. How does this happen? Oh, everyone that... Wait,
I don't know.
wait. Let me go through this. Okay, so the creator of this had people working on who was this, the guy who made regular show, the guy who would make Adventure Time and the person that would make Gravity Falls. Okay, and then they went on to create all the. Oh my god.
They made The Bravest Warrior. You're going a little say this. Being Poppycat is interesting, but the fact that it's constantly rebooted over and over is kind of annoying. Because like every time they do like, oh yeah, I think the creator literally did like the season 3 of Being Poppycat, which is literally just a retelling of the first 2 series mixed together to make it into one cohesive story. It's just like, what are you doing right now, my child? This doesn't make any sense.
From what I know from Steven Universe, it was okay at the start, then got really, really bad.
The creator really fumbled the ball. We kind of already could tell what they were planning instantly, and then when it came out, everyone was just like, "Huh."
What were
So
you
who's the one that called it first? Yeah, like what were you thinking? You're kind of painfully obvious knowing what you're doing. That's so dead. That's so sad.
Yeah.
Suddenly a new wave of shows was started, like Adventure Time, Regular Show, Gumball, Steven Universe, Clarence, We Bear Bears, even experimental short-run series like Over the Garden Wall. These were
Over
shows
the
that
Garden
went back
Wall. I
the
still
idea
need to
of
watch that.
creator-driven content, and those shows were followed up with shows like OKKO, Summer.
OKKO is one of those shows that I'm really sad didn't get to go far. They even had a crossover with
I
Sonic.
love OKKO.
Yeah, it was so good.
My friend, Jesus Christ, I still call him my friend. Ed's friend of mine absolutely did not like the creator of OKKO because they used to make a webcomic, and it took a hiatus because the creator kind of lost motivation for it. And then they're like, years later, the creator is just like, all right, so I'm wondering, do you guys want me to finish the? You want me to continue and hopefully finish this? And everyone said yes. They never did. And in one of the episodes of OKKO, they bring back their characters from the webcomic and quote unquote unofficially end it that way. And it pissed off a lot of people that originally loved their original art. I kind of understand why. Because they literally said, okay, I'll finish this, but they did it in a way that more suited them than the fandom would have preferred.
Yeah.
Which I kind of understand, because when you lose motivation, you lose motivation, but
yeah, it could have been
at the same
better.
time, it could have been ended a lot better and in a bit more respectful way.
Yeah.
Island,
But what can you do?
Creek, Mao, Infinity Train. Cartoon Network has really picked itself up for
Oh
being
my god, Mao. What happened to that show? It was so good.
It got canceled, unfortunately.
I know, it had so much potential. It was so dumb, and I love how some of the jokes were really dark, especially when the bad guy's just like, it's just like, are we gonna keep doing this dance forever? And Mao literally just says, no, I'm gonna end this once and for all. And the guy's like, oh my god, that is dark. This is like so stupid. It was such a good show. Except Adora Bat, she's insane. She was freaking insane, guys.
There was I do remember one. It was weird because there was an episode where he had a cold and it was fighting a dragon, but for some reason it made a lot of references to Gundam, to G Gundam.
Yeah.
That was a strange one, but yeah.
Laszlo channel.
Camp Laszlo was good.
I don't even watch TV anymore. Channel. And while they certainly had some misfires, like bringing back Powerpuff Girls without the original creator, and
yeah, that was a terrible idea.
So bad, you do it. No me gusta.
I will not get mad at a kid show. I will not get mad at a kid show.
I don't know how they screwed it up so badly.
Well, they had literally had someone working on the show that had a crush on one of the characters, even though he was an adult and the character was a child.
I'm not gonna dignify that with even a response, and we're going
I wish
to
I was
move
fucking
forward.
kidding.
And we're going to move forward.
I wish I was
I'm
kidding,
21.
man.
I will not get mad at a kid. I'm
kidding.
mad anyway. Things could be a lot worse. While not as prolific as SpongeBob
I am
was
horrified
to
by
Nick,
what
it's
you
not
just
up
said.
for debate that Ed, and Eddy wasn't
I'm
a
not
tentpole for Cartoon
kidding.
Network. There's a reason this was the last of the classic.
I know,
cartoon
that doesn't mean
cartoons
keep
to kick the
talking.
bucket. This was a show created by Danny Antonucci, a Canadian animator
Oh,
who
yeah,
founded in
him.
the 80s, working on shows like The Richie Rich and Scooby-Doo Show, The Flintstones Comedy Hour, and The Smurfs. Can you not see
Really?
the influence in his later work? If you look closely, Papa Smurf is right there. Danny
What?
got a chance to make his work his way by creating short films like Lupo the Butcher, doing work on the cult classic Heavy Metal, and creating the MTV show The Brothers Grunt. Now,
Oh?
this show was regarded as both one of the ugliest and worst animated shows ever, to such a degree that I don't want to make you see it in motion. If I
Okay.
didn't edit these videos myself, I'd probably just make someone else look at it, but I'm a one-man band, so I'm taking it easy on myself. If you had to
Okay.
describe Danny's art style in a single word, I think brutal is the right word. Brutal in intensity, brutal in subject matter, brutal to watch. His art is incredibly chaotic, and if this makes any sense, a very controlled mess. It's all over the place, but it's meant to be, so that's not really a knock. But how does a guy who
Okay.
made this end up making a kid's show?
Yeah.
Well, the same way
You want to
every-
know how?
The same way the guy who made Invader Zim did. G Gundam was great. G Gundam was great. Like,
Yeah, you want to know how he ended up making a kid show? But Mech, you want to know the story behind why he made a kid show?
why?
He lost a bet.
Oh.
Well,
Wow.
I don't know if he lost the bet, but it was a bet. Essentially, his friend or someone bet him saying he won't be able to make a popular kid show.
Well, he was wrong.
I wish I was kidding. Yeah, that was literally it. Literally, that's the only reason he did it. He was an adult like an adult cartoon animator. Because you've seen his style, it's really messed up and more towards mature audiences.
I will say this.
Yeah,
I
he
will,
he basically was bet to make a popular cartoon.
I will say this. Brutal. I am one of the biggest G Gundam fans for right now. Not the biggest, obviously. Like, let me put it this way. I want to find... If I'm Domon, I want to find my Rain. Or... Damn it, what was... I can't... Anyway. I've said words and now I'm regretting it because now I'm forgetting names off the top of my head when I'm... Don't look at me.
Great creation is made. Spite. Yeah,
Alan
the
B.
strongest force in the
Alan
world
B.
isn't love. It's spite. After
Yeah.
feeling like he had been pigeonholed as an edgy artist, Danny sought out to make a children's show just to prove he could. After
And
Danny
that-
had too much
yeah,
creative control,
just to
he
prove
dragged
he
it over to
could.
Cartoon Network and was greeted with a resounding, "We'll give you whatever you want, just get out!" Thus, Ed, and Eddy was born. While the other cartoons were by no means sanitized kids shows, I mean, Cow and Chicken literally had carpet-munching biker lesbians in an episode, Ed and Eddy felt just as chaotic as Lupo the Butcher and the Brothers Grunt, while also being a lot of fun. Its instantly iconic look with those
Yeah.
characters
I
shaking
love
outlines,
Alan B
the
as a
small but
character,
strong cast of
and
characters,
Domon, and
the cozy
Rain,
setting taking place
and
in a
and
cul-de-sac made it a
Saishi.
smashing success. The ramped-up
And
violence of the show
George.
also made it something I couldn't watch when I was younger alongside the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. Funny story, as I've said before, I pretended to learn swear words from Ed and Eddy so I wouldn't get in trouble for playing Shadow the Hedgehog.
Wait, what?
The only reason I was able to watch shows like Ed, and Eddy was because one episode of Billy and Mandy had Fred Flintstone in it.
Really?
My brother convinced our mom to let us watch it since, look, it's Fred Flintstone. He's never done anything bad.
Participated in a genocide, Barney.
Real comic. Can't stress enough. This is a real comic. You can.
Yes, the comic literally basically did the Vietnam War. But for the Flintstones, I wish I was freaking kidding. It was horrifying, dude.
What the
Buy
hell?
it. You should. It's good. Ed, and Eddy pretty much
Okay.
had the best run a cartoon can ask for, going on for 10 years and 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh no, that can't be right. Please don't be
69
right.
episodes. 69
Danny,
episodes.
you dirty son of a gun.
Yeah.
And a feature-length film that wrapped up the story in a nice little bow.
Yeah.
Today, it's the
Yeah, and Ed
longest-running
movie.
Cartoon Network original series, and is still remembered and beloved to this very day.
Good.
It also had a game like, Jesus, you know some games just come out, like, look at the Wikipedia
Yeah.
page. They're really stretching for time. Go over the plot of every level. Keep this on hand. You might get lost. So this
Keep
game
this
doesn't
on
really
hand,
try to have an
Michael.
overarching story in the same way the show did. Almost everything the Eds do is just to get jawbreakers.
Makes
Instead of
sense.
a regular plot, each level of the game plays out like it was an episode of the show, usually broken up into 3 or so segments depending on what's happening. Starting the game with
Makes
Cool Year
sense.
Ed, and the game goes for animated cutscenes.
Wow.
Except instead of being hand-drawn like the original show, they're done in Flash.
Ah.
No disrespect meant to Flash. I mean, I dedicated a whole video to singing its
No
praises.
head pets for Wolfie,
but
why?
Ed, and Eddy doesn't really work without constant motion that's just not here. They at least got the outlines right, but I feel like I'm seeing a teacher at a grocery store.
You don't belong here.
Speaking of things that shouldn't be seen, 3D Ed Boys. See, there are some characters that just don't transition to 3D. You stay in that motherfucking corner. You
Yeah.
think. Look at Fairly Odd Parents. 2D, fun show
Yeah.
with an instantly recognizable and stylized look. 3D, sleep paralysis Muppet. Ed, Edd n Eddy is one such show.
Yeah, it doesn't
I give them
work
credit for
great.
going for cell shading, and it's pretty accurate.
It worked a lot better.
Right. But
Oh, you
one
love
look at
it?
the fact that Jimmy's hair sits on top
I
of his
hopped out of
head,
your lap.
people's
Why?
mouths look like they're about to rip like the stitches on a doll, and the war zone that is Eddie's entire body, and you start to thank God these guys aren't real. So for this level, we gotta get Eddy to make snow cones to sell to the other kids. Here we get introduced to the gameplay. Is it too much for me to just say Sonic Heroes a knockoff for a nap? So you control one Ed at a time and the other two follow.
I mean,
Each
if
Ed
it works
has their own
out.
traits and abilities that you can use to progress in the level. Moreover, the first 3 levels are pretty much dedicated to a specific Ed to get you used to how they work.
Alright.
This is Ed's level, so it's absolutely about brute force. Ed has a
Makes
lot
sense.
of positives over the other Eds. For instance, he has the funniest walk cycle. He's got Ed Bash, can dig in sand pits, and has a special move, the Battering Ed.
Aw.
You're gonna want to get used to the kind of weird and loose controls of the Battering Ed, since you're gonna be
Battering
using it more
Ed.
than you ever walk in this game. It's super
Yeah.
fast, it's right through most boxes and enemies, and its only downside being that if you crash, it takes a while to get up and go. There's a reason that most speedruns of this game come
There's
down to just being
speed
able to
runs?
use the Battering Ed well. It's the best of the
There's
3
speed runs for a lot
abilities
of
and the
things,
answer to
but-
most of the game's
I
problems.
know, but
Like catching the chicken,
Yeah,
which made at least
yeah.
3 appearances in every episode. Why don't you remember the chicken, fake fan? This is just a little challenge that can
He
make
always
you some
steals the
Easter eggs.
chickens.
They're simple little
'Cause he loves
changes to the
chickens.
game. I don't think we should really dwell on them. As for the level itself, you primarily use Ed to stun enemies and then throw them. You use a cat to distract a dog, which really shows you why there was only like 2 animals in the show. This is just a hairy bag. Or throwing squirrels into this incredibly weird window. Like, the inside is a real room, but it's not the room you're looking at. It's just textured to look like it is.
Wow.
And it moves around like a soul caliber background. This is some non-Euclidean shit right here. After flushing out Sarah and Jimmy and getting all the ice they need, the Eds just have to ball.
This is amazing.
Meatballer to do it.
Well, I'm
Except
glad
he
you're
doesn't
having
want
fun.
to let us, so it looks like it's time for this son of a shepherd to have a little accident. Under mysterious
Oh.
circumstances, the gate to his pigsty breaks, and being the noble friends we are, we round them all back up, at the price of using his baller, of course. That's no issue, and just like that, level over. It's super short, but it'd be really cruel to make this children's game's first
Okay, that's
level
they're
anything
trying to
other
make
than
their
a
own
cakewalk.
Childbreakers,
Also,
probably.
was I the only one who was grossed out by the fact that these balls were browned? At best, unsanitary. At worst, they probably taste like hot dog water. So after throwing up
I
a
mean,
little bit
yeah.
in our mouths, we get
That's why
sent
you
to
clean
the
it out.
hub. Yeah, just like Battle for Bikini Bottom or Simpsons Hit and Run, Misadventures lets us roam around a classic cartoon
The cul-de-sac.
in all of its glory. Except unlike those games, the cul-de-sac really does not have much worth exploring.
Well, it's just a
mostly
cul-de-sac.
just a couple of hallways that lead you to the levels, and the only thing you know is the
Yeah.
cutscene viewer. And
It's
the
not a big
Jawbreaker.
area.
Oh, look at that! I have
They're
3
just a bunch of kids
Jawbreakers.
playing around in their houses.
Next level takes us to Jimmy's party, and after maliciously destroying everything he owns and
No,
shoving a
it's
squirrel down
allowed.
his throat, this prima donna doesn't want to let us in. Oh, he has no idea quite how petty I can be. So instead of taking the high road, we go down low to the sewers to bust in and crash it. This is where you really learn how much you need the Battering Ed. This level is mostly long straightaways, and instead of walking all the way there, you can use the Battering Ed to smash everything in your way. This includes
What?
random barrels of toxic radiation. These were the causes of a horrible realization I came to recently. Did you know they aren't filled with sludge? It's
What?
mostly just concrete and other stuff that can't be poured onto you to give you fantastical powers. It's just a barrel of angry rocks.
Really? I did not actually know that. Barrel of
Oh
angry
my
rocks.
Oh dear.
Yeah. You wanna know why, Mech? Yeah.
That heavy Ed focus really takes away from the fact that this is supposed to be a double D level. You get
Oh,
to
it's a
use his
double
main
D.
3 abilities, those being the Trample Ed, which lets you get to higher platforms, his water balloons, which can be used like a first-person shooter that I always wanted the franchise to be, and
Oh.
hacking, which lets you bypass doors. Trample Ed is used a lot in this level and shows just how unwieldy and finicky it can be. Next room
Oh.
over, and sometimes I've said that certain things in videos took an embarrassing amount of time to figure out. Most of that translates to about 4 or 5 minutes on a puzzle that should have taken 1. I say this to quantify me saying that this is the most embarrassing amount of time I've ever spent on a game. Mistaking this water balloon target for a hacking one stole 10 minutes of my life. 10 minutes I
then.
could have used to learn a
My
trade
sweet
or
boy.
kiss a cute girl who instead spent running around like a chicken with its head cut off who wasn't very good at video games.
They didn't
This
check on
hallway
my-
lets Ed
Oh,
kill an
well, you were
impressive
muted,
number
so
of
I
rats
didn't
for a
wanna
growing
disturb
boy
you.
before we get to a room with a locked door that needs us to turn a valve to open it. Awesome.
All right.
Right to that, there's no valve.
Oh. It just ends the
Luckily,
video.
delectable
Oh my
sewer baby John
God.
Blank just so happened to fish one up. Instead of giving it to me, which would be nice, he doesn't, which is not nice. He won't cough it up until we lower the water level so they can go clam fishing.
Oh
So
my God.
while we go around, we not only have to avoid the lovable PG perverts, the Canker Sisters, but also the clams Johnny wants to catch in the first place. Them and a few other enemies in the game have the nasty trait of instead of just attacking you and calling it a day, they stick to you and deal damage over time.
Ah.
How do you get them off? Science still doesn't have an answer. It puts you in the standard hit stun too, which means that simple things like carrying objects or living a happy life are impossible. So to get back at Johnny for holding the valve hostage, we take Plank hostage and threaten to feed it to the killer clams. Trust me, they're no joke. They just got one of Double D's fingers. We get what we need and hightail it to the surface. Next up is using the trampoline to smash up pinatas. After showing Jimmy what he was missing by not inviting us into his home, the Canker Sisters return to do things that would not have flied if the genders were swapped. The only way to fight back is using Double D's slingshot to knock down beehives onto them. I'm still not sure I got this section down, since not only are you only ever hitting the Manic Pixie Dream Girl one, but the other two are constantly popping up.
Manic Pixie Dream
Girl. Get them to stop, I certainly couldn't find it. Sometimes their attacks
Oh my
it's not something I can
God.
actually replicate. In the last one of these segments, I can't even hit Marie. She just leaves her hiding spot randomly with her weird little crab scuttle before we finally finish the level. It's the best part of the day. Time
You're
for a
only
new
hitting the
level of
Manic
Ed, Ed,
Pixie
and Eddy,
Dream
the
Girl one.
Misadventures on
What the
GameCube.
hell?
This time the candy store is giving away free jawbreakers, and this is basically our only chance to get one. This is the Eddy Spotlight level. showing off his
of
abilities
course.
Like the Tower of Ed, which lets all three Eds cross narrow platforms. Or if you're industrious like me, you realize you don't need your friends and jump over to the other side on our own. The game does soft lock you and make you have to go back and pick up the other Eds if you want to progress. Oh, son, don't you think you
These
should
have big head
apologize to
mode
the game
on.
for ruining its fun? Eddy is the most limited and least fun to play as Ed. At least Double D has a lot of things he can do. Sections where you need to use the Tower of Ed are just balancing acts that are more so tests of patience rather than skill. Most of the level is just...
It's true, actually.
By simple, I mean another one that stuck
Why are
me
you
for
throwing
way
stuff at
too
me?
long for the letter on the box. I
No
swear I
worries,
went to
sweet boy.
college.
You can have some
I'm
strawberries.
so glad that 100%ing Misadventures isn't on the finals.
Oh,
At the end
tiny
of the road
Ed,
is a
bro.
Skinwalker. People talk about Sonic having a rough transition to 3D. What about Kevin? He tasks us with knocking down some trash cans to prove we aren't sissies, so he'll let us pass. Clearly, he's erected a psychic barrier that will stop us in our tracks. If I ever man up and go to therapy, I'll probably end up telling the doctor that this is the reason I had a messed up childhood. This section seems easy. Just knock over the trash cans. But lining up the right shot is so nerve-wracking and is impossible to wrangle in the right direction. It's even worse when you only have one left standing and you just keep on missing. Secret pro tip from a 10-year vet of playing Misadventures. You can also use the trash cans you knock over more like a dirty, cheating freak. Seems like I got the buzzer beater win here, but sadly the game wasn't.
Don't see how that's dirty or cheating.
It's not cheating, but I have to do a thing right now, so give me a second. Hiya, honey. How was your day? Anyway.
Called me a horrible slur.
A dork.
This is also one of those games.
He always calls them dorks in the show. That's the one thing he does call them. And yes, I do have to do those sound alerts if someone has enough points over on the stream.
Where a cutscene plays every time you restart a segment, which at least has some comedy factor.
Well, if it isn't dork, and dorky.
No. After that, we have to get past some bees using honey that selfish little bee Johnny is hogging. Just use water balloons to cave Johnny's head in and murder him with bees. Once we finally get to the store, we get the job.
Listen, Johnny 2x4 had happened.
Yeah, apparently he might have tried to become a supervillain after everyone beat him up for trying to beat up the Eds at the end of the movie.
Poison.
Yeah,
Eddie
he
has a
had it
deadly
coming.
allergy to poison. We have to hide Eddie's face until we get home so we can die a dignified death, or else the embarrassment will kill him before
He's
the
got
poison
itching
does.
powder.
This is the stealth segment of the game. Sneak around and make sure you don't get seen. The Tower of Ed allows us to hide behind telephone poles, and Eddie can hide in boxes to avoid detection. I switched to small head to try to help us hide. On the way back, we get to retread old ground and distract the other kids. Sometimes it's with
Yeah, no,
blocks,
this one was
sometimes
actually
with
really
telephone
hard
poles,
as a kid.
Sometimes throwing cans
Yeah,
of paint
stealth
at their head
levels
with
in
laser
old
accuracy.
games
All
like
right,
this are
classic
always
kid
hard.
stuff. That's a pretty alright section. I'm not stuck on anything for a day and a half, and there's a pretty clear indication on when you're in an enemy's line of sight so you don't get caught unaware. I thought the section where you have to sneak behind the moving tractor was pretty clever for this game. Alright, all our efforts were completely pointless, and we complete the level. On to level 4. Jeez, Jack, we're already halfway through the game. If you weren't so nice, I'd say that you massively overestimated how much there would be to talk about in this game until this point. With deadlines encroaching, you couldn't pivot games and had to make do with this one. Yeah. For this one, we're tasked with completing an obstacle course to get a Junior Urban Rangers badge to keep it out of Kevin's hands. Seeing as we're all caught up on the Ed's playstyles, this level is where you put them all to good use. Not only do you have to use Ed's throwing and batter Ed, but the other two are there too. I kid, but honestly, this level, like almost every other one, gives Ed the biggest focus. You'll need to use Double D to knock down new platforms and Eddy to fall off them, but overall it's pretty obvious that Ed was meant to be used the most. And it's not like you'd want to use the other ones anyway, since Eddy's balancing act is frustrating for how he always manages to slip off whatever platform you're trying to cross. And even worse later on in the level when you have to carry stuff while walking over these tight ropes. In this section, we need to play whack-a-mole with Jimmy's head, so to gain a tactical advantage, I give Ed a big head so he's more likely to hit them. After that is a run to go get batteries to power a generator. Oh my god. Carry while stuck in the tower of Ed, but also test if you can pass puzzles made for children, which I can't when I drop the green battery in the orange slot, because where there should be basic problem solving, my brain just has Sonic trivia. Crossword puzzles are out of my wheelhouse, but if you ever want to know how to get to the Sonic Adventure 2 test levels, I'm your man. I continue to show why they call me Jack can't seem to do anything right for the life of him last name when I run into a booby trap without triggering it, and then fall into the trap again when the trap is actually triggered. Honestly, the fact I've managed to write this script is a miracle. Slot all the batteries in and you're on your way to the next part of the level. I also got 69
just don't understand.
In Canada,
I know you don't, people. It's okay.
Said, yes! F*** America!
America, you know? And you're Canadian, right?
Now, if you want to continue down the path, we gotta lock horns with Victor, Rolf's goat.
Okay. What the hell? Why is it turned into Yakuza? What the hell? Alright then.
I love this so much.
I can tell.
Oh gosh, this brings tears to my eyes. This is so beautiful.
Tubular. Anyway, to finish the level, you have to beat Kevin in a race to the end of the track. It's like this track was built by kids or something. It's falling apart. Just duck and weave, or weave and duck, it doesn't matter to me, and you're gonna make it to the end with no problem, as in Kevin wouldn't even come close if you gave him a head start and walk past the finish line. On to the next level, and Jimmy's stuffed animal Mr. Yum Yum is missing, and the Eds are on the case to find him in an old abandoned house. Seems pretty easy when we get locked in with the child-friendly sex pests, the cankers.
Oh great, there you go.
So we have to go get presents for the three types of girls that every guy develops a thing for.
It's manic pixie dream, bro.
Man, this tomboy. What? Dipsy blonde.
Is big, empty, and most
dirty blonde.
Boring. You have to trek so deep into it at some points to find the items you're looking for, and sometimes it's really hard to tell where you need to go. Not to mention you have to carry them a long way while avoiding damage. This gets ridiculous as the level goes on. I'm not even sure I completed half these segments how I was supposed to, but I still beat the game, so joke's on them, I guess. Instead of talking about how this level feels like a surgical being inserted into the side of your head, I want to go over something positive. The presentation.
I hope you feel better
perfectly emulates the show, better than most licensed games, especially for the time.
Yeah.
The environments look dead on to the show's style. The character models, well, Eddy, do strongly emulate the show's original style. The show never looked perfect, so why should the game? The soundtrack sounds right out of an episode, using a lot of songs and sound effects from the show itself, and there's no need to tell you how iconic those are. Best of all, though, is the return of the original voice cast. There are no Mr. Krabs in this game. The whole cast is back, and they sound perfect, from the Ed boys, Sarah, Jimmy, Kevin, and Rolf. Fun fact for those who don't know, Rolf is voiced by Peter Clemens, who also voiced Goku in the Blue Ocean dub of Dragon Ball.
Have you ever experienced the almighty three shield beating?
You know, it turns out I do want to talk about that really.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Goku, no.
This gobbler across this wooden board. The obstacle is supposed to be this candelabra, but it's really gravity we're beefing with. I cannot stay on this platform to save my life, but what's worse is when I just drop the goblet because the forces of the universe decide I haven't earned it yet and knock me off for no reason. Once I get across, I do what I absolutely know is wrong and get across with just Ed holding the present. This leaves the other two high and dry while I run back all the way through the level to give it before offing myself to get my other friends back. It's only a 2-minute walk, but to the ADHD-riddled sugar addicts and 21-year-olds
Yeah,
playing this
that's
game, it feels like an eternity.
terrible.
Wow, Jack, breaking a game and then complaining about how broken it is, that's a whole new low. After getting Double D and Eddy back, the last step is to use the Tower of Ed to get up to the top of the library. The boards are more than an atom thick, so I have a much better time crossing them. There is one time where I simply walk too fast into a corner and die a violent death as a result, but honestly, I probably had it coming. I got the final gift and Mr. Yum Yum back in.
Alright.
Less than mint condition, but vivisection builds character. Chin up! On my way to the next level, I decided to check out some of the collectibles that I've gotten over the course of the game. We get a quick slideshow of the Ed's voice actors recording their lines, which reveals that Eddy's voice actor looks exactly how you'd expect him to.
Or will be blacklist. SP raised once in it. Oil driller and really.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
We also got the Best Friend Plank music video, which inspired me to make my best friend out of an old house shingle when I was younger. When a character in a cartoon does it, it's funny. When a real kid does it, it's sad. No time for childhood trauma. It's time for something even more important. The final level of Ed, Edd and Eddy, the Misadventures. We finally got the jawbreakers we wanted, but they end up stolen, and the only thing to help us find them is a snippet of a map. Gotta go find the rest, and that leads us to a junkyard. All you gotta do is find the pieces, but the process to getting them is a little more than just difficult. It's downright painful. First things first is to get
it's really not
open a door. Not hard, but pretty tedious since you do all of the moving in the Tower of Ed, and that moves at a snail's pace. By the time we get there, it's gonna be tax season. Get a move on. After that, we get our first scrap of map by launching Johnny into low orbit and disabling an electric fence. From there,
Johnny had it coming.
Being chased by every single enemy in the game, and we get to Jimmy, who has a piece of the map, who will give it up for a jawbreaker. As retribution, we do the most horrible thing possible by shoving a sack of spider eggs down his throat till they start crawling out his eyes. Of course, it's not just Tower of Ed tightrope walking, but the
that's literally what you do.
Has
Wow.
all of its friction removed by.
Hey.
No, I don't know. Let's
We
say
want our own jawbreakers
and
Jimmy's a nerd.
I know for a fact this can't be how this part of the game is handled, but I'm stumped on how to do it any other way, so whatever. The final piece of the map is held by Rolf, who challenges you to a rematch with Victor for it. You remember how we're still stuck on the last Victor fight? Gnarly. So we get the map, and it turns out that the wholesome predators, the Kanker sisters, have them. So we track them down to their evil underground sewer lair where we only have so much time to get to them before we're branded losers. That time, by the way, is more than enough since you get more time every time you die, which is going to be often since there are multiple times where you need to use the Tower of Ed, which is always going to get you killed. After getting through the tunnels, we find the Kankers atop a big electrified pile of trash firing deadly love at us. Welcome to the first boss of the game. Welcome to the last boss of the game!
Okay, there we go.
All we have to do is use Ed to throw at the target.
I was about to say, what, first boss?
And then use Ed to accept all the adulation. The main annoying thing is that you spend most of the fight carrying stuff, so you're a sitting duck for the kisses, and all the squirrels which, like the other enemies, latch onto you and make you drop whatever you're carrying. It's not hard, but it's really weird that the last boss isn't a combination of all the Eds. It's just Ed doing what he's been doing the whole game, and carrying the rest of the team. We escape with the jawbreakers only to be caught in a chapel and brutally faded to black by the Kankers. Roll credits!
Tunes again.
So, I know exactly why I like this game. It's because I'm a fan of the show, and I played it when I was younger. I like all
That's
the
why they
mods
release
and
these
jokes
style
and
of games.
Places like the jawbreaker descriptions. I like the presentation and the general structure of the game, and I forgive a lot of things about it for that fact. Someone who doesn't have any attachment would probably call it a mediocre to bad puzzle platformer with shoddy physics and only 6 hours for a full-price game that can be beaten in less than 3 hours. Luckily, I'm not that guy, so if anybody hasn't played it who likes Ed, Edd and Eddy and wants to check it out, or if you just have a soft spot for old licensed games, give it a look. You can do a lot worse. After course-correcting Nick June into the universally beloved and revered Kurt June Network, I can't wait to finish out the month strong with
What?
No. Oh, son of a...
He's still looking for games. And there's the Ultimate Muscle video.
Dude.
Well, we'll release the Ultimate
Muscle.
We'll release the Ultimate Muscle video eventually. It'll just take some... I gotta do some... well, covering up some stuff.
I will do it as soon as I can figure out a title.
I know you will.
Also because I legitimately don't know how to do titles.
It's fine. Anyway, thank you all so much. If you like what we're doing here, please do consider following, consider doing all that nice stuff you do for streamers, and we'll see you later. So, thank you all so much. We'll see you later. Yeah, but like, comment, subscribe. Later, guys.